Hi, I'm Lana Kerr, founder and president of Your Fat Loss Coach, and thanks for stopping by. Usually when people are sitting in front of me in my chair, the first question I ask is, how can I help you? So I'll ask you, how can I help you? Usually the response is a couple things. Some people will say, Lana, I want to just finally stop dieting and reach a weight that I haven't been in since my 20s. Others will say, well, I just had a baby and would like to just get back my body. Others may say, well, I'm getting married and would love to look the best for my wedding day. I'll have people who will say, Lana, I'm a diabetic, I've been on medication, my cholesterol is high, and my doctor is telling me to lose weight. So whether it be image or health concerns, you stopped at the right place. We've helped thousands of clients, including many celebrities, to achieve their ideal body fat percentage and health. And I would love to be able to work with you. Before, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I actually did this quick fat loss treatment that we're going to talk about today. My background is in nutrition, and I've been a nutritional consultant for over 14 years. And I have lived by the standards of nutrition that we talk, which is natural hygiene and blood type eating. But when I was in my 30s, I too had to do this treatment. And the reason for that is that my body just changed. After having kids, it was very difficult for me to achieve the weight that I wanted to achieve. I was a runner, so I ran full marathons. And you would think with the amount of training, I would achieve my goal. But it was just not happening, and it was very depressing. Finally, we discovered this treatment, and within 7 weeks, I went from a size 6 to a size 0, and I finally got the body that I wanted. I look better in my 40s than I did in my 20s. And we've done this for thousands of clients. So let me tell you how it works. Well, first off, we don't believe in dieting, because dieting simply does not address the root cause of the inability to lose weight, the inability to lose your belly fat, your back fat, or to drop your body fat altogether. The problem is that when your body fat is too high, and when we talk about being too high, what are we talking about? Well, according to the American Medical Association, a woman is overfat at 25% body fat, whereas a man is overfat at 20%. So if you're above those two, you definitely need to think about how to lower your body fat. Well, the problem is when your body fat is too high, you're overproducing a very important hormone called leptin. L-E-P-T-I-N. Leptin and insulin are two of the most important hormones inside of your body. They work together. But when your body fat is high, you're producing more leptin or fat fuel, the fat hormone, than you actually need. Let me give you an example. We're going to use just hypothetical numbers. Let's think of two people. One woman or man, their body fat is they're over fat. So in case of a man, they're over 20. In case of a woman, they're over 25. And you think of another person with their ideal body fat percentage. Now, let's step back a second. Let's talk about leptin. Leptin is, as I mentioned, the fat fuel, and you need it in order to live. You produce leptin when you eat food, because food is a hormonal stimulant. When leptin gets low in your body, it signals some enzymes in your brain, and it tells you that you're hungry, so you need to eat food. So one very key point to staying small is never eat when you're not hungry, because then your body will produce leptin that it didn't ask for. And when it produces it, it's going to be stored as fat. So let's say this person over here who's over fat got hungry and they decided to eat an apple. Now, let's say that they may need 20 units of leptin to live. Okay? So they eat this apple. They will produce more leptin than they need. So they may produce 22 units. What's going to happen to that extra 2? Well, it's going to be recycled and stored as fat. Whereas you look at the lady or the gentleman on the left, on this side, whose body fat is ideal, when they get hungry, they may need 10 units of leptin because they're smaller. Their food may only trigger them to produce 2 units, but they needed 10. So they're still hungry. So they eat another apple, and they'll still be hungry. They may need to eat 5 apples in this situation to reach what is called energy homeostasis. So you see, this person is getting fat by just eating 1 apple. This person can eat 5 times as much and not put on weight. And I'm sure you've seen that in your life. You've seen where people who are very lean can eat so much more and they don't put on any weight. It's because their body fat is ideal. The question is, how do you get to that body fat? Well, let me just tell you first of all why dieting is so bad. What a diet will do is simply restrict your calories. And then by restricting your calories, you may underproduce the amount of leptin that your body needs. And then you'll be hungry. But you may take an appetite suppressant or some fake food like Jenny Craig or Nutrisystem, not to name those companies, but that are loaded with chemicals to give you the feeling or the false feeling that you're full when you're still hungry. And so what will happen is that because you're not going to produce enough leptin for fuel, your body still needs a source of energy. So it's going to take it from your protein or your muscle. So your body will actually start to cannibalize your protein for energy. And then what will happen is that because you're not producing enough leptin, that hormone, is going to communicate to your hypothalamus gland, which is your master gland in your body, which will communicate to your endocrine system and lower your need for the amount of leptin. So what will happen is that once you start eating regularly again, your body, because you didn't release or reduce your body fat, will start to produce the same amount of leptin it was producing before, but now because you've lowered the leptin requirement, it's actually storing more. Do you understand? So the key thing is, or the key question is, how do you reduce body fat percentage? Well, a treatment was developed by a medical doctor, Dr. Simeons, in the 1920s. He discovered the way to permanently lower body fat. He was studying little boys in India who had breasts. Little boys should not have breasts. And even when they dieted and exercised, they still had these pockets of fat that were unavailable to their body, similar to what you may be experiencing, belly fat, that even when you diet, you're not losing it, or back fat, or arm fat. So Dr. Simeon looked at when women get pregnant. When a woman gets pregnant, she naturally produces a natural protein peptide called human chorionic gonadotropin, or as you may have heard, commonly referred to as HCG. We're talking about injectable HCG. Now, what that does, it actually protects the fetus, that in event that a woman does not eat when she's pregnant, the baby will come to full term, because that particular protein peptide will release leptin from her stored fat for the baby. Well, Dr. Simeon discovered the same thing will happen. If a person who is overfat takes this, your body is going to produce leptin from your stored fat as energy without eating. So that is why typically a client will lose within 7 weeks anywhere between 25 to 40 pounds. And listen to this, very important, you will not lose your muscle. You will release fat between about 40 inches throughout your whole body. Now, what that will do is not only lower your body fat percentage, but you will actually reset a very important gland in your body that controls your weight, called your hypothalamus gland. This is a very effective treatment. Now, I'll tell you, as effective as this treatment is, it's really not for everyone, because it is not a diet. It's not something you can go on and come off. You need to see it for what it is, a very serious treatment that is designed to lower your body fat percentage. So it's done in a certain process. I'll tell you what it involves. First of all, in this program that you're watching or you're thinking of purchasing, you will get a video every week through a 10-week treatment or a 7-week treatment, depending on what it is you're looking for. That video is going to walk you through the program. But before we even get to that step, you're going to need to be cleared by our medical doctor. So you're going to need to complete a form, and from that form, he will clear you. I'll tell you that there are 3 things that he will not clear you if you have these conditions. If you're pregnant, obviously. If you have cancer, no. If you're on insulin, he will not clear you for this. But failing that, it's really a go. So once you submit that, we will now send it to the doctor. He will call you and interview you, and he will send you your package of medicine with all your supplies. In this treatment, you will receive not only your supplies of human chorionic gonadotropin with your needles. We're going to, as I said, we're going to step by step walk you through that. You're going to also receive some cleanses from us. And in that way, we're going to look at cleaning your liver, your kidney, your colon as you go through this process. So let me describe this process to you. You will be assigned a coach, which will be me. I will be sharing the information with you on a weekly basis. But you'll also have live access to me. If you have any questions, feel free just to send your questions in and they will be answered in a timely fashion. You can also feel free to call our office directly and someone will get back to you as well. The program is broken into 4 phases. The first phase is fat loading. You have to eat a lot of fat for 3 days. And when we go to that part of the video, I'll explain to you exactly what I mean. But what is that for? Well, it's designed to bring your leptin levels high. Someone will say to me, but Lana, why do I need to do this? I have so much fat already on my body. Well, if that is not done correctly, you will reach to the second phase and be very hungry your first week. So I suggest you to do that correctly, and that usually can be the fun part of the program. After those 3 days, we get to the next either 4 to 7 weeks of a structured eating plan. That eating plan is going to be designed based on your blood type. But you'll be eating things like chicken, fish, shrimp, crab, lobster, grass-fed beef, depending on your blood type, a list of about 15 different types of vegetables, including tomato, lettuce, cucumber, asparagus, cabbage, kale. The only 4 choices of fruits: apples, oranges, grapefruits, strawberries. And that's what you're going to be eating for 7 weeks. Remember, we talked about leptin, and when leptin gets low in your body, it's going to trigger hunger signals. So because you're taking the HCG that is triggering the production of leptin, you won't feel hungry. When you feel hungry, it will be time to eat. But one thing I tell you, you're going to be needing to drink a lot of water. We're talking about either 4 to 6 liters of water per day minimum. That's going to be very crucial. So if that is a deal breaker for you, I suggest watching no further, because that is going to be very important for the fat to be released from your body. Once you can commit to that, and I'm going to be expecting you to be perfect on that, you will experience fat loss, fat release, about, as I mentioned to you, anywhere between 25 to 40 pounds in 7 weeks, or you're talking about anywhere between 4 to 8% body fat reduction. During the sessions, we'll be talking about behavioral changes, because yes, this is a great tool to release body fat, but then you're going to need to understand how to eat in order to maintain that. And as I mentioned to you in the introduction, we will be teaching you on natural hygiene and blood type eating. So once you finish that second phase, then we'll reach the third phase, which is called stabilization. During that phase, you'll be required for 21 days to be perfectly eating on the foods allowed, which means numerous vegetables, numerous fruits. You can increase more flesh, some nuts, some cheese back into your diet. And the intent of that phase is to recalibrate your body based on smaller fat tissue. There's no calorie restriction. You're going to basically eat when you're hungry. And then phase 4 is how to eat after this program is finished so that you can maintain your weight.